obviously a crazy final minute, but you had the lead for most of the game. What was the key today?
I thought we got off to a good start defensively in the first half. We ran good offense. Obviously, Jake Groves got us going, and Reese was good. Everybody was solid. But we were really back and set against them, and maybe because we made more shots and guarded them in the half court well. When the second half and in stretches, when they got kind of going in transition, and we had some breakdowns on the ball screen, then they started having their way. And PJ, we did the job in the first half, and then he started with his physicality and his experience sort of took over in some ways. But we did. We played well enough. Again, guys gave us lifts, Jordan and Jake. And then you need to make plays down the stretch. That tip by, we almost had it with Jordan, and then Ryan to come in out of nowhere was significant. And then you didn't ask about the last minute, so we don't need to talk about that. So.
Okay, Mike Barber.
Tony, I mean this respectfully, but in the first road games you guys played this year, it felt like when the home team went on a run, your guys didn't have an answer. Tonight, big runs from Clemson, and you guys had an answer each time. Is that a sign of growing up, of development?
Yeah, well, you better learn to be unoffendable, so I'm not offended by that comment. Of course not, and we weren't good in the early part of the year. But when you're in this profession, you see a lot of things. Yes, I think we've matured. We still faltered. We were wobbly, as I always said, down the stretch. You got to make free throws and come up with some plays, but you at least have to put yourself in that position, and that's where we've matured and handled some runs. And IMAC, I didn't mention it, but his 4-point play was huge, and then a silly foul to put PJ at the line at the end was big. But yeah, I think IMAC's, he's a second year, but he's now at least in the latter part of his second year, and we needed the addition of Jordan Minor playing well and Tane giving us a lift, and even Dante, who was hurt. So we almost have three guys that weren't playing in that stretch early on. And I think, as every new team does, you settle in, and doesn't guarantee success, but you get closer to your identity.
Jeff.
To see Jake kind of put another game on top of the one he had at JPJ the other day, I mean, scoring can be challenging for this team. How much of a difference does it make when he can give you?
Yeah, I mean, we're not a dominant interior scoring team, like Clemson can do with PJ and their guys. What's it? Ian. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to make sure. Scheffler, right? No, Schefflin. Sorry about that, but he's good. He is. So we have to get it by stretching the floor, some drives, and when Jake is stretching it from three, hitting some pull-ups, even had a little, kind of post-up play when they switched Gerard on him. That was huge. And, our defense has to hold us in there. But I thought, again, some good stretches of offense, and he had two back-to-back really good games.
Tony, you mentioned Ryan's tip-in, but he also had that ball he saved.
Oh,
by diving out of
how could I
bounds,
forget that, yeah.
And a rebound in the last minute. How big were those kind of hustle, clutch plays from him?
Those are the winning plays. Those are the X-factor plays. There's no question. That play he made to keep it in and to save it and go flying into the bench, and then that tip, and I'll remember those for a long time, and because that's the stuff that it's got to be in here to do that, and then the anticipation. So he used his grit, his athleticism, and those plays won us the game as much as the 4-point play and some of those other things.
Any other questions? All right.
Both of the number 11s in this game have pretty good range.
Yeah.
Gerard hit one from.
Good Lord, yeah.
Are you willing to kind of give a guy a 35?
No,
foot?
no. And Isaac was 1 of 5. He was there. We said, look, he's whatever. Their logo's bigger here, so I think we got to change the thing here than most logos. You say he's a logo guy, so I think I might be a logo guy here, or anybody. You might be. But his one time Reese said, well, it was far out. They said a flare screen. I went over. And one time Andrew Rohde thought he was there. But you can't. And we've seen that obviously when he was at Syracuse. And overall, I think we did a decent job. But that ability, like Jake for us, was huge. And he's one of those shooters that you got to be aware of the moment he crosses half court. Really.
Okay, Mike, and then we'll take one in back.
Jordan's defense, particularly in the first half on Hall. The last foul aside, what did you think of the way he played and what he brings there?
Important, good. I mean, that is exhausting doing that. And I told Jimmy, Blake he had 102 fever yesterday in the morning, wasn't even going to travel, but but was a little better the next day. We traveled him and made sure that he was at normal with his temp this morning, so he didn't practice 2 days, and we needed his 12 minutes because Jordan was banging and, gave us a lift on offense with a few plays. But that's a load trying to, always keep it out and then wall up. But that's where you need your maturity and your strength, so it was good.
Okay, we'll take one in the back.
Coach, you mentioned Ian Shefflin, and I don't know if you saw in the crowd the chef hats. That's become a bit of a
Really?
phenomenon here, rooting for Shefflin. But what's his impact on the game? I know it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but that allows the student section and other people to root for him so hard.
Yeah, well, looks like he's just kind of an everyday kind of guy. You look at him and you say, hey, but I liked him last year. What year is he? Is he a junior? I liked him last year, and he knows how to play. He's crafty. He can shoot the ball, good passer, but he's continuous, and he's a no-nonsense, whatever you want to call, lunch pail, hard helmet guy. And so I could see how the crowd would certainly get behind him. And, the combination with him and PJ is a tough. That's formidable. And, Brad does such a good job. This team is really good. They've just, you look at how they lost this game, how they lost to Duke, and some of the close games. And but they're good. That's why this league doesn't quite get respected when you look at the Georgia Tech, when you have teams like this, and we're all just fighting, and it's balanced. But he's done a great job with them, putting them in those spots, and I could see how Ian would be, one of those kind of guys.